designer at No Code Studio, a Glasgow-based game development studio known for multiple BAFTA Award-winning games, Observation and Stories Untold, and they're now working on the recently announced Silent Hill Townfall. Welcome to the stage, Graeme.
Thanks for having me, and it's a real kind of honour to be here. The first time this has been back, we've kind of really missed these kind of things over the past few years, so it's great to be part of something like this again and be around. Yeah, I'm about ready. I am a slow person by nature, so here's hoping this works exactly. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today was things I brought from my previous job as a teacher at high school into game development when I got the opportunity to do that about 5 or 6 years ago. I've been very privileged to be able to work on these two games that No Code have brought out, Stories Untold in 2017. I worked on that part-time in my evenings, while during the day I was working at Denny High School in Falkirk as a physics and electronics teacher. And during those 9 months it was quite a short development time, a very intense development time, at first just working a few evenings a week, and then, as you'd imagine, closer to release, things get a bit intense, and I got a little bit more than that. It was hard to juggle things, but we kind of got through it. But the amazing thing about it was that I really kind of began to cut my teeth on the development process, the design process, and then obviously whilst teaching, beginning to see some real parallels between what I was doing in the classroom and what I was doing at the studio. But my journey in game design didn't really start there. It started actually 4 years earlier at game jams, which are fantastic little events where about 4 years previous, a global game jam at Glasgow Caledonian University, and my brother invited me along to take part in a little game jam, and I went. It was a great experience. I was mainly on paper design, wasn't involved in any sort of technical side of it because I didn't know how, but I enjoyed the process, and we actually got a really good game out of it, and we saw it go places. It eventually came out in iOS, and I got a real kick of seeing that kind of come to fruition. So things had been in motion for quite a while before it came to Stories Untold. And then at the end of Stories Untold, Observation got greenlit by Devolver Digital, and I had a choice to make about whether I go full-time and take the jump, or whether I decide to stay in teaching. But I decided to make the jump, which was a bit scary, but it was a great choice I don't look back on, obviously. Now I get to work on this, which is just a dream come true. If I thought I'd be working on a Silent Hill game 5 years ago or whatever, I would just laugh probably. So this is I'm very privileged to be able to work on something like this, and very thankful for the opportunities I've been given over the time. Anyway, two things in the time I've got left, which is I can't read it. Great, I've got more time. Okay.
2 minutes 20.
2 minutes 20, that's not bad. Okay, so two things I brought from the classroom into the studio that really helped me, and there's many more things, and I really just see these as kind of like conversation starters, so if you want to grab me outside and we can talk more about these things, then that's cool. So the first thing is a core concept in learning and teaching. It's called constructivism. Basically what constructivism says, it says a bunch of different things, but it basically says that human learning is constructed, i.e. the name. So what that means is that when we get a new concept, people have to build that onto prior learning. And as an educator, I remember designing lesson plans, much like the way you maybe design a design doc or something like that, but you would design a lesson plan that would take into account the prior learning of your students to try and develop something that would help them construct that knowledge into what they already know, or should already know. The second thing is that human learning is active. It's not a passive process. You don't just sit there and absorb information. It's much more effective if you're actually doing something to make that happen. So learners have the responsibility to do things to prod and poke and explore and experiment and reflect on what they're learning to try and put all these building blocks that are in their head together. And you probably heard that term when things like click into place from an understanding point of view. That's that process happening, that constructivism at work. And I believe that games can be seen in this light pretty much. Everything I was doing in designing my lesson plans, I was kind of seeing being mirrored in the games world. It's a quote from University of Technology in Texas, I think it is, that basically talks about a learning journey, and that games offer us a little universe that we get to explore and prod at, and we have to learn the rules of that world. And good games really help you construct that well, whether it's hands-on or whether it's hands-off. There is a thought process that goes on there. I'm about done, but I've got just enough time. Second thing's completely different. This is something that was drilled into us from day one as a student teacher. It's about being a reflective practitioner. I'm going to go over here, but just by 30 seconds, I'm sorry. Still make the noise though.
Yay!
Awesome. Right, so just to wrap up, this is just an attitude really, or a practice that you can bring into, I think, into our everyday lives. Something that I get into a habit of as being a teacher. Basically, after every lesson, once you take the emotion out of the lesson, because they can be quite emotive experiences, you would reflect on that and go, okay, what went well, what did not go so well, and how can I get better at it? And in terms of what went well and what didn't go well, why did that happen? So I took this into my game design practice as well, not just with respect to the things I was building or prototyping or the processes I was involved in, but also as part of like your professional performance, your character, and just trying to integrate that in. And it's really all about growth. And I think when you do that, and other people see you doing that, there's a real kind of cool ethos that can begin to get going. And I'll leave you with that thought there because I'm way over time. Thank you very much.